All right, today we're diving into the fictional crime novel, The Long Eclipse. And trust me, this is a story that rips back the curtain on perfect suburban life to show you the darkness hiding right underneath those perfectly manicured lawns.
So let's set the scene. It's 1968, Vista del Sol, Phoenix. And this quote, it just nails the atmosphere. It's this seemingly perfect suburb, right? But it's all built on this unspoken agreement to just ignore anything unpleasant. Bad news, real-world problems, they just don't exist here.
And smack in the middle of all this perfection, we meet our main character, Vera Chambers. On the outside, she has it all. The house, the husband, the life. But for her, it feels less like a dream and more like a gilded cage.
This line right here, it tells you everything you need to know about her. It hints that there's this whole other person buried inside her, someone sharp, maybe even a little wild, who's been completely smothered by the day-in, day-out routine of being a housewife in the 60s.
And this is really the core of the whole story, isn't it? You have the promise of suburbia, community, safety, those green lawns, but then there's Vera's reality, feeling totally alone, nursing a warm vodka, stuck in a marriage with zero love. The American dream for her? Yeah, it's turned into a complete nightmare.
So things really kick off at a neighborhood party. You know the vibe. All polite smiles and small talk. But then something cuts through all that, a topic nobody wants to touch, and it throws open the door to the whole mystery. Out of nowhere, someone brings up a local murder. A young woman, Lisa Marie Denton. You can imagine, most people just want to change the subject fast, but not Vera. For her and another housewife, Martha Keene, it's like a switch flips. Their ears perk up.
But then, Martha drops a bombshell. She reveals that this isn't a one-off tragedy. She's been paying attention, and what she's found is a truly chilling pattern. Look at this. A woman murdered every 3 months, strangled in a cheap motel. It's methodical.
So what do? Well, they're fed up. The police don't seem to care. They're just writing these women off. So Vera and Martha, they team up. It's a really unlikely partnership and a dangerous one, but they decide, fine, if no one else will find the truth, we will.
But how do a couple of housewives even start investigating a murder? Well, they get clever. They use the one thing they've got, their social status, or lack of it. They know everyone just sees them as harmless, bored wives, so they turn that invisibility into a superpower. And don't think for a second this is just some hobby for them. They are surprisingly thorough. They start by digging through old newspapers. Then they hit the streets, going to the kinds of bars and diners that are a world away from their clean little suburb. Eventually, they even bring in a PI. This line right here, it's basically their motto. They have this huge realization, the very thing that makes them feel so trapped and powerless every single day, the fact that nobody takes them seriously, is actually their secret weapon. And the deeper they dig, the darker it gets. They uncover something way bigger than a single murder. It's a whole prostitution ring preying on young women, and it's all being run by this shadowy figure that people only know by one name, Michael.
Then they get their first major break. They track down the last friend of the victims who's still alive, a young woman named Carol. And she is terrified, but she gives them something absolutely critical, a detailed description of the killer.
And this is a total game changer. I mean, look at these details. A black Cadillac, a scar in his hand, expensive suits. All of a sudden, this boogeyman they've been hunting isn't a ghost anymore. He's a real person. They can actually look for him now. And then the whole thing comes crashing together. Where? At a neighborhood barbecue of all places. A new guy moves in. His name is Michael Brennan, and guess what? He fits the description to a T.
And this is the real horror of the story. The monster isn't some shadowy figure downtown. He's their new neighbor. He lives right there in their safe little bubble. The danger isn't outside. It's right there at the block party, holding a paper plate.
So as Vera gets closer to a final, terrifying showdown, she stumbles onto another truth. And honestly, this one is even more devastating. It's a truth that hits way, way too close to home and just blows her entire world apart.
Yeah, check this out. The ultimate betrayal. She finds out that her husband, and Martha's husband too, weren't just clueless guys who didn't know what was happening. No, they were in on it, willingly helping this killer run his operation, all for the money.
So how do they finally nail him? The final piece of evidence comes from the last victim herself, from beyond the grave.
Just before she was killed, she managed to secretly record his confession. It's the smoking gun they need, and it brings the whole rotten enterprise crashing down.
And in the end, this whole horrifying journey leads to Vera's own liberation. In the process of fighting for these other women, she finds the strength to fight for herself. She finally walks away from the comfortable lies she's been living and chooses freedom, even though it's scary and uncertain.
And it's the same for Martha. When she's faced with the truth about her husband, she makes the same choice. She sheds that old life like a skin and steps into a new one that's real, even if it means starting over from scratch.
So, the whole story really leaves us with this one big question. It makes you think, what really happens when the people nobody pays attention to finally decide to start paying attention themselves? It's about the power of really seeing what's in front of you and the courage it takes to look past the perfect surface of things.